He said, take a village to raise a child. But what if the village is retarded?
What's going on? What's going on? Going to be talking about tonight a look at the incel crisis in America. Okay. A look at the incel crisis of America. I was watching a video from a Generation Z guy, a white guy. Um, I forgot the name of the channel. I think it was like what. I think this guy goes by. I'll get it I'll get it in a second. See what this guy who I was watching. Hold on. Pretty smart guy. He goes by what if all else all elthist. It's kind of a weird. That's not even a word, but it's just that's the name of his channel. But yeah, I was watching his commentary, and now it wasn't the whatever podcast. I'll put it in the chat. I'll put it in the chat of this video right now. I'll put it in the chat. What his channel name is? Um, very smart guy. Very smart guy. Has some very very smart for. I mean, probably one of the smartest Gen Zers on YouTube. Okay, as far as Gen Z is concerned, probably one of the smartest Gen Zers that I have probably listened to. Um, he breaks stuff down, in very very genius fashion. Like he's very very good. I just discovered him like I think yesterday, either yesterday or the day before yesterday. I'm not even sure, but he was talking about incels, and I thought I'd put my 2 cents in, and from a perspective of I'm basically a Gen Xer. The tail end of Gen X. Basically, Gen X ends in 1980. Okay, that's pretty much the year I was born. So, um, not to say that like the earliest millennials, are very similar as far as behavior, culturally, how they look at things as Gen Xers or younger, or younger Gen Xers. So the younger millennials are more closer to the Z's as far as their perspectives, but I do have an older perspective of times in the 80s from basically the 90s is different. It was different in the 80s than it was in the 90s. Obviously, 2000s things were all different in those time periods. So I've seen things, and I've lived a life that is different than what is going on now, and definitely the 2000s and onward. So I could pinpoint certain things that I've seen, because I'm thinking about how did this my whole perspective, my thought is, how did this phenomenon start? You know, and I'm sorry I didn't acknowledge you. What's going on, red pill sleeper cell? Um, how did this phenomenon? My thought process was when watching this young man this video. How did this start? Because when I was coming up, I mean, I wasn't at dating age in the 80s. I didn't start getting dating age until the late to mid 90s. But even in the 90s, this term was not common. It was no term for incel. I mean, basically, the only terms were lame and nerd and stuff like that. Like, it wasn't no incel. That was not something. It wasn't no situation where I could say culturally, and even in the lexicon back then in the 90s. um I'm not gonna say 80s because I was a little kid. I was playing video games, playing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and all that type of stuff, like watching it and watching cartoons. So I wasn't around, adults like that, listening to them, talk about certain things sexually. So I'm not gonna, those things started in the '90s for me, but it was no term for no dude that wasn't getting pussy. Okay, it just, maybe it was the only thing I could think of was you got blue balls, you got a case, you got a case of blue balls, but there's some things that I can see socially that is different from how people were in the '80s to now, that I noticed that might have led to this incel epidemic that we have now, where it's a big thing. And that's a major reason why I believe this whole phenomenon exists. First off, um, unfortunately, this is both, men and women, but ideally, unfortunately, women do have to kind of hold the L when it comes to this, because it's one pivotal reason why I believe there's a lot of incels. And this has something to do with basically, it's not what I call, but it's I look at it as women's choice. Okay, women's choice in regards to them being able to choose their own mates without the consent or approval of their parents, primarily their father, which is the, tends to be the patriarchal decision maker in the household. Women start being able to choose their own mates without parental consent from a period of, I want to say, the '60s, definitely '80s, '90s, and onward. So from that choice, a lot of times what happened was, I got to show a photo, because this is actually kind of what happened. It almost like women start to watch their own family tree burn. They start to like literally burn their own family tree due to their choices in men. And I'm gonna get to the incels and why this came about. Okay, work with me, be patient. I'm gonna bring it back to the the whole incel, why this is a thing. And it starts basically from women's choice. Hold on. All right, there we go. So let's see here. Let me bring something in the mix here. So now this is not necessarily something that it does affect the black community, but for whatever reason, this affects the white community more than any other community when it comes to the whole incel uh, epidemic. You say you have a theory. What is your? You said, okay. You say diversity is causing incels. What do you mean by that? Because I'm not there, but I'm kind of getting there. Because basically, this epidemic is, I want to say, in America, it covers all cultural dynamics, but for whatever reason, this cultural dynamic affects white males more than anything. Okay, that's one of the things that I have seen. Obviously, this is something that is going on um in the black community too. There's black male incels. There's black male incels on YouTube. There's black men that don't identify as incels that are in fact incels. Now let's first get the definition of incel. I got my laptop here. I got one of my mini laptops, and I can share stuff, and I could do a little razzle dazzle. So let's first look up the definition of incel, okay? Because we got a lot of people that they're talking about all kinds of things and whatnot. But you know, the definition is definitely important. Okay, I got the link there in case anybody want to talk about this. Let's share this to get this definition here to get to the bottom of this. So it says basically, incel is a member of an online community of young men who consider themselves unable. Okay, okay. What's going on, Lewis? Kanye?
Hey, what's up? It's me, Red Pill Sleeper Cell. How you doing?
Okay. What's going on? I didn't know exactly who you were. I saw you in the chat.
Yeah,
What's going on? I seen you on BGS and AB Media.
yeah.
Uh, yeah. So
Now you Gen X, right?
yeah, I'm on baby Gen X, the tail end of Gen X. Yeah.
I'm class of '75.
Oh, okay. Okay. So you 5 years older than me.
Yeah.
Five. Okay. All right. So we got the definition here, and it was okay, unable to attract women sexually, typically associated with views that are hostile toward women and men who are sexually active. Um, this that tail end actually, that's and I remember Alan Roger Curry, he mentioned mode 4. And mode 4, well, first mode 1 was basically, hey, I want the pussy right now. Let's fuck. Let's, basically forward and direct. I want to have sex with you. Let's go. Number like mode 2 is like kind of beating around the bush. Let's go have some coffee and talk about things. Then maybe
Basically
you
important.
yeah, maybe you get to the bottom of it after the coffee, and you kind of beating around the bush a little bit. Mode 3 is literally you just leading her on. You just basically you're not even making any really advances. You just kind of being a beta orbiter around her, just being in a friend zone, like stuck in the friend zone. Mode 4 is like just cussing at women, like, fuck you, why you don't want to talk to me, why you don't want to give me my number, you bitch. Like that's like mode 4 behavior, and that's in this definition is incel behavior.
Well, it's like Skeeter Mills.
I don't know who that is. Who is Skeeter Mills?
Skeeter Mills was a dude in New York. He asked a girl for her phone number. She declined, and he smacked her in the face with a skateboard.
Oh,
Yeah.
so all like a lot of her teeth probably felt like.
Yeah, she got assault, and there was another one where a dude followed a girl in the liquor store. She's there, she's buying wine. He asked her for a number. She declined, and he tried to bite her eye out.
Oh,
This happened 2 years ago.
oh
I'm
my god.
talking about it.
I usually stay on top of things. I missed that one. I do hear about every now and again a situation where a woman turns down a man, and I remember, I think this happened recently. A guy shot a woman because she turned him down basically.
Yeah, but
Um,
see, here's the thing, brother. Look, we all right. If you don't mind me asking, where's your geographic region you live in?
I live in the northwest Indiana, Chicagoland area.
All right, I'm from Northeast Corridor.
Okay.
I'm right next door to NYC. All right.
Oh, okay.
We always had these types of people in our society.
Yeah. This ain't nothing new, man.
And let me did you grow up in the hood?
Did I grow up in the hood?
Yeah.
No. I mean, it was like kind of lower middle class, working class,
All right.
Chicago suburb,
I,
but mostly black.
all right.
Um,
I'm from the inner city,
okay.
and
I hung
we
around those elements though. I wasn't like it was some guys in the suburbs, they never really went to the city or they didn't have family that were in the hood. But I had family that lived in the hood, and then I I was my origin story is quote unquote the hood. Like we
okay.
moved out of the hood in Chicago on the south side of Chicago, my parents in 1985, and we
Uh,
moved to the suburbs, a
well,
black suburb, you know.
where I'm from, you got your like you was forced to go out and get your scars early on.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, it
You
was like
know
that
what
in the black
what I want
suburbs too.
to get scars, right?
You had to basically what you're saying is in this is kind of what I looked at as far as this incel thing. What you're talking about, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong. You're talking about kind of a rites of passage.
Yeah, you went out, you like like if we're hanging out together,
You
I'm
had to
gonna
fight.
push you,
You might
yo.
have had to fight somebody or whatever.
No, no, no. Well, I'm saying we hanging out.
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, get that girl number.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. I had to go through that when my
Yeah,
friends they would
you
be like,
handle
"Man,
it.
go holler at her, man."
Yo, like, what's wrong? What? You know, and
Yeah.
well,
We'd go to the
first,
mall and we'd have a competition. I don't know if you had this too, where whoever got the most numbers
yep.
won.
And look what that developed. You
Yeah,
dealt with
confidence,
rejection. You dealt with
confidence.
rejection.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We like I consider incels only in like amongst white males. We
It
always
is some. It was some when I was. It is a black element to it. Well, black men, some black men are incels. Is I think it grew over, I would say, the younger millennials and the Z's, and I'm gonna tell you why. You just pretty much explained it, and that was what because my theory was as far as me looking at this through the lens of 1980 to onward. These men were the product of women basically that choose their own mates, and a lot of times from that choice was, well, they might have had the sexual experience that they were looking for and the attractiveness and everything like that, but it was incompatibilities to where, and I'm talking about the Gen X women and the boomer women, they chose men based off of basically attraction, certain things, and they ended up, a lot of them, not getting along long term with the men that they made it with and had children with. So either they got a divorce, or they basically had kids and became a baby mama, or they had a long-term relationship that ultimately ended and leaving them to be single mothers. And also added single mothers that left their children in the house to just play video games. Now, I mean, there's a technological element, I believe, as well, because video games got more quality, and they got more, I guess, in the pop culture, where it was a thing where it was a lot of entertainment in the house. Now you can play video games. Technically, you can stay in the house a lot.
well
A
you
lot of things, and then the internet added to it, to where I believe a lot of these guys were basically sheltered to the point where they didn't have those interactions. One, they didn't have confidence and interactions with men in rites of passage, like going outside, possibly getting into fights with young adolescent males, like I did. I'm sure you pretty much had to as well, and also talking to women in that same environment,
yep.
and also competing for women from other men. Because he has a thing as well. Like you had to actually compete other adolescent males for women.
Mhm.
So those aspects are major points of animal, like basically biology, that a lot. You have a lot of young men. This is just my theory that they didn't have a lot of that interaction. So they literally had a delayed in development, and that I believe this is why this whole incel thing is a thing when itself. Like I think this is why this is those two things I believe is why a big part of why this thing is so big of a deal now.
Well, my theory on incels, like, it's a couple of things you got to put into. One, the economy
Oh
plays.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
Now, and I'm talking about white men,
okay. Yeah.
because I, I, I don't think it's a such thing as a black incel. Like, like they
Um,
were out.
there's some there. I mean, there's definitely some online.
We had look, we had outcasts always in our society.
Yeah,
Those were the kid. Those were the outcasts.
those are the
Like
nerds, the serious
the
nerds. Yeah, they.
those were the booger. No, those were the booger eaters that
Yeah,
sat in the corner in the lunchroom.
yeah. Those guys too.
But
They.
but they had a way to get their outlet, and that was tricking.
Yeah,
They couldn't. They probably didn't have the personality to maintain a relationship, but they had the ability to go trick.
okay.
My theory on these white incels: one, the economy's fucked up, which white males have a large sense of entitlement because
Yeah,
what their grandfather and their father was able to do, they're not achieving. And two, the this country is way more accepting of interracial relationships and without suffering a lot of shaming and consequences as they used to back in the day in the white community. So white women are choosing other races.
yeah.
And
You gotta
and
your input, man, is very much needed because I probably would have gotten to it for sure, but definitely I've said, and this is what I learned from BGS as well that validated this because I already thought it. What you're saying is absolutely I agree with it as an added theory because what he said and what I've talked about as well is that and what I noticed because I lived this. It's not me actually talking about. I lived it. So remember in the 90s under basically the Bill Clinton administration where basically it was just the internet was still brand new and it was so many jobs available and also an added element to this is also the music culture. Okay, the music does have a role in this as well because the like no love songs, like kind of almost like love
like
died.
The R&B died.
Yeah, almost like love music almost died, and it kind of went into hedonism a little bit more. And
Well, how, like, you're 44, right?
I'm 40. Yep, 44.
Do you remember the chat line?
Yes, yes,
That was the beginning of the hookup culture. And
yes, yeah.
the chat line.
But even okay, what I'm saying is, as far as okay, the economy was more robust in the 90s, or it was taking off, like it was a trajectory of like a boom because of the dot-com and the internet and the computer revolution and all of that. So it was a lot of jobs. A lot of people were making money in the 90s, the late 90s. Even black people were starting to make money, which the Gen Xers, they were making some money. Even some of them were starting to make more money than their parents. Like I did, what I'm talking about primarily is the black community, or like young black males, and I mean basically young black people at that time. They were starting to make money. Now, when one of
Civil
the
service
things,
trades. Civil
yeah,
service.
yeah, one of the things to what you added that I noticed about this whole theory as far as the economy and even what BGS mentioned years ago, it's a correlation between how like the economy is and how women feel risky or enough to give out sex.
Yeah,
I do too. I mean, I don't know if that's what you mean by that,
without
but
consequences. Before,
huh?
like I I'm biracial, just to let you know.
Okay, okay,
Right?
okay,
I dated plenty of different races.
okay.
And the most uh the with all the women I dated, it was no problem. The only ones was with white women.
Uh-huh.
Because if they fathers and mothers would have found out, it was consequences that she would have to deal with. Now
Yeah,
in today's age where it's more accepting in society, especially uh, put out through pop culture on TV. You see interracial relationships uh, prevalent on TV today compared to in the 90s. You didn't see that. I mean, me growing up, the closest thing as a as a teenager I could get to a white girl was a Puerto Rican back in the day,
yeah, yeah.
and that was more accepting because blacks and Puerto Ricans they live together, you know, where I lived at, you know, for the most part.
Right.
So you had that mingling with each.
Hmm. Hmm. So like,
We had to go to the malls to find Becky.
oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. It was. I mean, it was just in the Chicagoland area. Well, Chicago is one of the most segregated places in America. And it's still pretty segregated. And it was like basically I noticed, obviously I wasn't hiding in the cave. I noticed the push of multi it was a push for multiculturalism in advertising and media, starting in late 90s,
Well,
um
it actually, um,
2000s.
the social experiment was actually in porn.
What's going
Where
on? Seeking my career. Yeah, yeah, you're right. You
the internet
actually that.
porn.
Yeah, yeah. It's still going on to this day.
Yeah, black. Shout out to black. You
I
know,
mean, there's a like, okay, on Twitter, on the internet, period, there's a big, like, it's not a big thing, but it's a movement. It's called BNWO. It's called the Black New World Order. Now it's actually a porn category, and also kind of a not kind of an unknown kind of BDSM type of movement too. At the same time, there is white women that absolutely think that black men are superior, and they stand by it and even profess their love for BBC, and they got a tattoo with a
the spades,
fade. Yeah.
queen
And
of
then also black women absolutely join into the opposite of it, and this is kind of
hearts.
tripped out, the Queen of Hearts, where they want to get with white dudes because they believe they want to improve the race of black people by getting
But
with white dudes. Well, getting with white dudes that have okay, you got BBC, and then you got I think it's WBC. I mean, no,
BWC.
BWCs. Like, they want to get with white dudes with BWCs, and improve the race. So you got these two camps that are actually porn categories as well. Um, and it is a thing where they're yeah, women are seeing this, everybody's seeing this, and they're interested into, they're curious.
But see, all right, with the Queen of Spades, most of and I'm talking about from um most of your Queen of Spades are married to white men they're cucked, and they're very prevalent in the swinger scene.
Yeah. Yeah.
And with that, the like, and they call the black men bulls. They're
Yeah.
nothing more than male concubines. They're not going to be, for the most part, they're not marrying no black man. They're using the black male as just they a living fucking dildo.
Oh, okay. He
With the
said,
black
wait,
women,
he said black men really can't be incels because the chances of developing relationships in the African American community has always been difficult. I mean, but wouldn't that make that comment, wouldn't that make more black male incels if it's already difficult? I mean, well, it's difficult probably to have long-term relationships in the black community, but it's not hard to hook up with black women. I'll help
yeah.
your argument.
and,
I'll,
and,
I'll,
and like I said, in the black community, you always had the weirdos, the booger eaters, the snack pack throwers in our society.
right. Oh yeah, those guys tip. Those guys are kind of somewhat on the
Those
retardation
were those
side.
were those were the creeps and the weirdos. We
Yeah,
always had creeps and weirdos in our community,
yeah. They probably live with their mom long term.
and for the most part, in our community, people stayed in their lane.
Yeah, I remember
The
my
nerds,
ex
the
wife.
nerd boys, most likely they got
Yeah,
with a nerdy girl.
yeah. My ex wife. She was telling me she had somebody she grew up with that he was like really fat and like almost Norbit fat. Not Norbit, but
O-
big.
Morbidly obese.
He was like, yeah, he was like dude off of Nutty Professor, and he would just pay women to be with them because
Yeah, he tricking.
yeah,
He
yeah,
engaging in tricking.
yeah, yeah. So the guys, I mean, one of the, like I say, I mean, all of these are definitely combined theories. The economy, men being sheltered, even women being influencing feminine, basically behavior and traits onto their sons, not allowing them to be around their father, or casting their father away from their children, because white women do that too. It's not just black women that do that.
Now,
um
do you listen to Sergeant Willie Pete by chance?
oh yeah, almost religiously.
All right. And look, he like one, we're because here's the thing too, and this is why I say the economy.
He listens to me too, he just doesn't acknowledge me.
Oh, all right,
Yeah.
okay. Shout out to Sergeant Willie Pete. Um, he's spot on. Look, and I'm assuming his royalty check for saying this. Um, if a man is not adequately employed, he can't sustain a family. But with this, you have with a lot of white males the entitlement, and because the economy is so fucked up, everybody is. You see all this stuff with this drama, like with this gender war stuff that's going on with both of
Yeah.
us,
Yeah.
and black community always been a social experiment, but white America never paid attention to us, and now they're suffering the repercussions because they should have learned what happened to us because they did it to us.
Mhm.
You have the economy is messed up. You got a majority of women that is end up in the workforce. So that's competition right there.
Yeah.
Your American school system never kept up with the world because we're post industrial.
Well,
We're in a technical.
this is what you're missing. I'm gonna lead into the economy because basically this is this is what you're dealing with. You have a rise in the wealth class in America that basically um, they're able to afford to send their children to the best schools
Mm-hmm.
and the best universities in the country or even in the world. Um, and also train their children on how to become to basically carry the reins of wealth. That basically what you have is a society almost like the guy that I mentioned earlier. I dropped the video link. What if else, or whatever his name is, he was talking about totalitarianism, which America is kind of leaning into, where you have these small elites that are trying to control fucking everything, and also that includes who gets hired, basically who, almost even who gets rich and wealthy as well. So there's very much a very center control on the economy that I've noticed. I could almost even feel that control, to where how the economic system is heavily controlled, heavily gatekept, heavily red taped. You almost feel defeated every day trying to kind of deal with this avalanche that you're trying to climb to actually somewhat even compete. So that is a play as well. You got white men that they're dealing with that same mountaintop, trying to make some money to be able to take care of a family. It's very much, a lot of people are getting priced out. You know, the black community, though, we came up with people being priced out. We're used to being priced out. We're used to dealing with less, and also, even if we needed to, depending on social safety nets like food stamps, or other things, government subsidies. So we're not opposed to that life, because a lot of us have leaning or origins where your mama might have been on food stamps or Section 8, or she didn't have that much money, your dad didn't have that much money, and you're kind of used to that. Well, a lot of white people are not necessarily used to that, and they don't want to be used to that. They're trying to run away from that. It's like, I remember watching Head Colors a long time ago, and it was I forgot the dude's name. He's kind of light skinned. I think he has like a ponytail or some braids. He was like,
Phil Valentine.
not him, but he looks kind of similar. He looks similar to him, but basically, he said black people might have to teach white people how to be poor. That's what he said on one of those hidden colors. And it's kind of, that's what is coming to, where basically a lot of white men are trying to deal with, trying to basically make money in this society that's heavily controlled, heavily totalitarian, and small elite that are trying to control every fucking thing. So that does have a play, but that's not necessarily stopping anybody from getting laid. Like, people that didn't have, like, I never had no money, and I've had periods, and I mean, I'm not going to talk about my personal business now, how I get laid, because I'm just not going to do it because it's just not something I'm trying to do right now. But my friends kind of know what I do, and I'm legit. I mean, I'll just say it like this. I mean, it is kind of, I noticed it's harder to get laid. I'll agree, and I've said this many times. It seems harder to get laid than it was in the 90s, even the early 2000s. Then now it's very more difficult. It's almost like, even a lot of, let me just kind of point, basically what a lot of times I see what a lot of black women are doing is they're picking men that basically it goes against like what's basically it supports society. Like they're picking men that are jobless, in and out of jail a lot of times, or even in jail, some of the desperate ones. And it's like basically they're boycotting productive men, so that
It's not actually boycotting. It's their imprint.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's
That-
who look. It's who they. It's who they're sexually attracted to.
right.
And and here's something that a lot of us really don't want to like to talk about.
I've been listening I'm gonna just say this. I've been listening to AV Media for years. BGS. I was listening to Art New Style for a minute, but I mean that's a whole nother story. So I know a little bit about your business because I've been watching the live streams for like almost every
Oh,
live stream. So
all right, okay.
yeah, I'll just
That's
say
what.
that.
Yeah, like
But
it's who
I'll just
they're.
say the like kind of swinging stuff or polygamous stuff.
Yeah,
I've heard. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. All right, but it's who look in the hood. Someone that that Pookie prototype is a social premium in the hood
yeah,
because his violence displays to her that he's going to be able to protect her.
yeah, yeah.
As 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 backwards as that sounds,
Uh,
that's what it is. It
yeah,
is what it
yeah. I
is.
really, another thing is I can't say that I don't I didn't forget it, but a lot of black women or a lot of black people do have like a element or some origin from the hood. Like they either first generation or second generation out of the hood, and they have like a lot of hood leanings. And then the culture, the music is thug culture. I mean, that just looking at it from the lens of what it is. Um, Rap music, even it spread into R&B with a lot of R&B artists like R. Kelly and stuff. It was especially even the 90s, it was a lot of thug. The thug became, you could call it enculturated thug. Like a lot of people were pushed to be thugs, the dress, the fashion, the lugs boots. A lot of that stuff came out of New York. The
Yeah, the
the
urban
fashion,
wear.
yeah,
That's
urban
what
wear.
I came up in that with the
Yeah, yeah,
Timberlands, the baggy jeans,
right, right.
the hoodies,
We wore the same thing in Chicago. Lugs
the
boots,
camouflage,
yeah,
back in the 90s.
lugs boots, Timberlands, Air Force Ones, Jordans, baggy jeans, Carl
Triple fat
Canines.
gooses.
Yeah, Carl Canines in the 90s. Basically cross colors, Jabot jeans, um, Guess pants. All of this stuff was, it's starter jackets. It was all like basically, you dress like you was going to a rap video shoot, and it started in New York, um, and it pushed across the country. Then the
Yeah,
West
but
Coast had their own thing. They changed
the
it. They started wearing, and even in Chicago, because we like in the middle, we get both. So the West Coast, they started wearing um Dickie pants with Chuck. We did with Chuck Taylors. Cats weren't wearing Chuck Taylors like that in
well,
Chicago. We
Naughty by Nature brought that over here when he started wearing all the
oh
Dickies
okay. Oh, I thought it
to the
was
East
started
Coast.
in. Oh, so even the East Coast started the Dickie pants and stuff like that.
And the Dickie work shirt.
Right.
Yeah, that
Okay.
it was the uniform. It's the
Right.
those were the uniforms for the urban environments in the 80s and 90s.
Right. And that pushed throughout the whole country. So you got
Because
women
you
yeah.
got to remember, brother, Gen X was always counterculture. Black Gen Xers were counterculture.
Right. Right.
We made our own fashion, and our
But that was
counterculture is what
influenced by
defined us.
hip hop and rap culture, though,
Yeah,
music or
yeah.
whatever. Yeah.
Rapper Gen Xers.
Mhm.
That's who we were. Hip
Right.
hop is us.
And even rock music at that time, their pants was even baggier. I mean, they damn near looked like he was walking around with big ass jeans with trash bags, like
Yeah,
the
look. The ones that were in our era that was wearing skinny jeans were metal, like cats that follow heavy metal.
yeah, yeah,
That
right,
was their uniform.
right,
Our uniform was the baggy jeans.
right, yeah. But I mean, like when I'm talking about like Rage Against the Machine, they wore baggy ass, super baggy ass, I forgot the name of that brand, but I think it was called damn, I can't remember it. But it used to be super baggy. Big ass just trash bag jeans, like with like almost look like they're like you could fit
Like
two bodies in this one gene. Like, but
oh,
yeah,
like
that was part of the culture back then. But I mean,
crisscross.
yeah,
Oh, those big ass jeans. Yeah, wearing
yeah,
one size too big. Yeah,
yeah. So like that was part of the culture. So I mean, even now, the still the culture is even more progressive and more gangster, more violent, and that's what the women you listen to. Even every like all of the like it. That's a part of American culture. It's not even just
but
black culture. Yeah.
can I ask you why would cats wear baggy jeans back in the day?
Because they thought that.
I could hide a shotgun in my pants leg.
Oh, okay, okay. I didn't
And
know that.
if I'm wearing form fitted like um not tight clothes, well tight clothes or something that's more form fitted, you could see a weapon on me.
So it was a part of the element of
The streets.
the streets, and then also prison culture, because people were wearing pants off their, where you could see their drawers, and that was they were saying that is part of prison culture. But yeah,
Yeah.
all of that is, some people say that's even a psyop, or that's like some type of social engineering, because it's like who's pushing all of this shit, you know. I don't know if even that's to blame as far as things, because people were just wearing that. Like I remember Chris Cross, they had dudes, and I was one of them goofy dudes wearing jeans to the back, like wearing you know what I'm saying? It was like it was a short period of time, but these cats, man, these young dudes was on a rap video, and they basically was wearing their jeans backwards, you know, and they had like a hit song. As cats was mimicking what they seeing on rap videos, you know. Um, but it was it was a thing, but and it's still a thing. So I mean, that's why these chicks are. That's why they want these dudes, And unfortunately, a lot of these dudes, they they really try to mimic the culture, and they try to do the things that they hear the rappers do, and live the life that the rappers live. Even some of them try to be aspiring rappers. So it's kind of like I don't know. It's kind of degenerate. It's a level of degeneracy in it. You on mute? I guess
Yeah,
he.
yeah, yeah. No, I just unmuted right now.
Oh,
I was waiting till
oh,
you
okay.
finish.
Oh, yeah, yeah. So it's like I say, it's a level of degeneracy to that culture that basically has men kind of somewhat being unproductive not all of them, but quite a few. And these women pick these men, and then they become single moms, and they believe their situation is toxic, so they don't deal with the man at all. And then they're raising these men to be in the house, and they just playing video games, and then you know it's like it's just one thing leads to another, and it's a degree of anti-socialism to play that plays a role in this. And for one reason or another, the white males, for whatever reason, are um leaning into this. Like they're definitely antisocial. If I had to say what's a textbook incel, it's one element is antisocial. They have a degree of anti-socialism, or they don't really know how to be social really well. So that leads me to believe that they were probably raised in the house a lot, and they were sheltered. And then two, they don't have any rites of passage, which rites of passage is very important. It's very
But
important for adolescent men to have rites of passage.
and I'm gonna say this because I watched a couple of the incel documentaries,
Mhm.
and you look at the incel men, they have a lot of them. Well, I'm talking about the white men. They're very skinny, no muscle. They don't look masculine whatsoever.
Yeah,
And honestly, if they was with a female, they wouldn't be able to protect that female.
right. Now, do they show this doc? Because I might have seen one. I don't know if I have, but do they show the men, the incels men parent dynamic, like who their parents were?
No, 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 no. These
Uh,
are people that are socially withdrawn, lacking like
who your
a high dose of low self esteem.
yeah
So,
how
eh,
your parent, how you were reared plays a big role in how you are as a person.
yeah, your
It plays
socialization.
Yeah, it plays a big role. So that's why I'm saying there's a lens that's I don't really know that much what goes on in the white community, but I think that quite a few of them have been divorced. The products of divorce, where they're split between households, and they still raise. I do know the white women do raise their sons to be sheltered a lot too. They have their kids just in the house, doing because in this tech level of technological revolution, you can have everything in the house and you don't have to leave. You have that convenience. You can you can order DoorDash or Instacart. You can order groceries, whatever you want, food wise, to your house. you Video games have the graphics of 80s arcade type graphics, 90s arcade. You have that from a console in your house. You have internet, so you got internet video games. You got all kinds of you got interactions that you can do online. They got um I think I heard something called Bigo or something where you could just, it's kind of like how you mentioned the 90s chat line. Well, instead of the chat line now, you have, people can do video chat. Like we're right now we're on YouTube. People have different, like you could communicate online, so you don't have to go outside. So a lot of the young people, I think, were antisocial. And then when you're in the house, you're not dealing with rites of passage. The only opportunity for rites of passage is in the school, and that's not necessarily the best place. I mean, even though that happens, I didn't really get too much fights in high school, but I used to get in a lot of fights in grammar school. I would even say I was probably somewhat of a bully when I was like in second grade and in first grade for sure. Third grade, not so much. I would just I would have fights, but after it was usually after school. But the thing is that a lot of these kids might not even know how to fight real well because they're just not socialized to do so or whatever. I don't, I don't. I'm just theorizing it, but it is a, like I said, I think it's a level of anti-socialism that plays a role in this, and then definitely their parents kind of sheltering and coddling them plays a role in it, and is probably even being raised in a single mother household that definitely plays a role in that as well. That even takes it to the extreme. They don't have a male example of a confident masculine man, um, to kind of mirror. And thirdly, like I say, I mean, rites of passage is important for adolescent men for sure. Going outside, fighting, if protecting yourself, defending yourself, being offensive, defensive, in surviving to live another day and going outside to do it again the next day, like that made a man out of you. I wrestled in high school, and that definitely made a man out of me, man, because I used to get my father used to fight me. My father used to, man, he used to fucking, like, man, he used to just, goddamn it, man, he would fucking punch my ass. When I learned how to wrestle, my father, we used to just, I used to put him in a bear hug, and we just be bear hugging. He knew he couldn't fight me no more. He had to just, respect me as a young man. Like, it's like that was important, man. But it's like, yeah, a lot of guys they didn't do anything like that. Maybe, and the white men, young white men, they might have, been coddled. They didn't have any males to, try to reinforce any aggression or have them defend against aggression, or give them some type of mirror of what a man is. A lot of those things are very important. I might have looked at it like, damn, this is torture when I was a young boy, but growing up, it's nothing I think I can do because I had, you know, rough things that I endured when I was younger that I'm older, that I endured, and I have confidence from doing that. And then military, I was in the military. I think you were in the military as well, Lewis. That is a rites of passage, I believe. You're muted, but the military, it does give you some type of rites of passage, because I remember when I was in boot camp, I was in Navy boot camp in Great Lakes. It was some men, white guys that kind of look scrawny. They might have, been a little scrawny on the scrawny side. They probably might have been sheltered a little bit, but Navy boot camp was a little tough. It wasn't as tough as my Marines or Army, but it was tough. It wasn't an easy experience. And after you did all of that, you got sent off to training, and then you went out to the fleet, or you went on a base, and you're part of the Navy, and you go out with other Navy guys, and you go try to get women and drink a little bit. That was part of the culture. So not everybody joins the military. So I mean, it's not like men are joining the military and getting that rites of passage from that. So it's a lot of things at play, man. But this whole incel thing is definitely something that, like I say, I'm gonna have to put my 2 cents on. I'm gonna read this article. I think Lewis is a little busy with something, and this is what he said as far as the economy plays a role in. It says the rise of incels. So let me read this real quick. It says incels are actually right about something. Young male sexlessness is a product of the times, just not for the reasons they think. On Reddit, and other online forums, involuntary celibates or incels fulminate against a world of exaggerated gender stereotypes where women chase alpha males, leaving incels sexually frustrated and angry. Some have performed violent terror attacks. That's why I put the thumbnail. I made that thumbnail. It says, I can't get no pussy. Um, I'm about to go out and shoot somebody. Their ideas are validated by intellectuals like Canadian professor Jordan Peterson. Okay, so this is the whole thing with Jordan Peterson, I guess. So I guess, I guess you could call Jordan Peterson the incel whisperer because he's like he's the one crying for he's the one who's crying about this epidemic. Like he's like the incel whisperer. He's the incel leader. You could that they kind of cling on. Okay, because I remember him saying it's not your fault. Society is the way. He kind of talks about things like this. So let me further read this. It says a clinical psychologist by training who cites ancient cultural traditions to argue that the best way to control male violence is enforced monogamy, though as a New York Times profile, I don't know what they mean by enforced monogamy. I gotta look that up. Uh, as a New York Times profile pointedly noted, Peterson see the redistribution of anything other than sex as abhorrent. Another take on the link between marriage and incels come from Lyman Stone, a researcher at Conservative Institute for Family Studies, a research institution dedicated to the idea that marriage strengthens society and improves childhood welfare. In a fascinating examination of U.S. social surveys, Stone found a significant recent increase in young men who have never married and are not having sex. Some of that increase is, in fact, due to hardcore incels, whom Stone defines as virgin men between the ages of 22 and 35. So that would cover Gen Z and younger millennials, whose reason for never having had sex isn't abstention for religious timing or health reasons. That is, they report that they can't find a suitable partner or list other as their reason for not having a sexual partner. The US hardcore incel population increased from just over 2.5% of young men in 2002 to nearly 4.5% in 2015. Now, 2.5 might not be a big number. 4.5 not even, but it is big because when you take in the US population being over 300 million, okay, 10% of 300 million is 30 million. Well, 1% will be basically 3 million. So this is roughly, given this 4.5%, this is about 12 million and around 13, close to 14 million men. Okay, 14 million men is a lot of men. Okay, I'm not sure if even the military we have a million man army. Okay, let me see here. He put something. He had to go get a ride. So okay. So I don't even think the military we have a million man army or anything like that. So you got to think nearly 14 million men. That is a lot of men, that's having problems with women or that are incels. And you got to think out of them 14 million men, right? Because I didn't even, I didn't even think that they even had any calculations of what the percentages of incels. Now because of I did this live stream, now niggas is they gonna know the statistics on how many incels there are. and obviously give no credit to where they got the information. But anyway, that's a lot of men. 14 million men is a lot of men. Okay. That's enough to make an impact. That's enough to start a revolution. That's enough to start a war. Like 14 million men could do some heavy damage. And unfortunately, I'm gonna read this more because this is very interesting, and then they give some valuable statistics. You got to think out of them 14 million men, how many of those men are shooting up schools, shooting up supermarkets, joining, different movements, whether that be white nationalist movements that are blaming other people and Jews and black people, and all of that, his immigrants, and then they go get an AR-15 and shoot people up, um, how much is that a role, these incels in that violence? Okay, incel violence, right? That's why I put the thumbnail of this video, right? I'm about to go shoot some shit up. I ain't getting no pussy. Because if you got pussy, you probably ain't gonna shoot some shit up. You getting pussy, you probably got kids. You gotta stay for your kids. You ain't got to shoot nothing up because you got kids to go see. Okay, you say active duty military personnel, 1.3 mil. Okay. So it's just roughly okay. So we do have that. Okay, great. That's you got 14 million men. Okay. Just imagine a worse dystopian thought. 14 million men with AR-15s, or it could do some damage. You know what I'm saying? They're stemmed up. They could, 14 million gooners that ain't getting laid. They ain't getting no parts of the pussy, in the words of from House Party. You know, um, that's stemmed up. Blue ball army with AR-15s coming and marching down on your ass with AR-15s, man, shooting some shit up. That's I'm being comical, but some of these guys are starting from Elliot Rodgers. I guess I'll play a video of Elliot Rodgers. He was like one of the first one of the first violent incels that actually, basically took out some type of revenge based off of him actually being an incel. So let me further read this, and then I'll, play a couple videos or whatever. It says, but as you might expect, Stone finds that a much larger share of the increase in general young male sexlessness comes from delaying marriage. Analyzing a data set of male virgins between 22 and 35, he says that 69% increase in the number of these American men is mostly due to a decline in marriage. But not never married men having less sex, that he says is because nearly half of the increase in sexlessness is from men who are delaying marriage and report celibacy for largely voluntary reasons. What explains this, Peterson has argued that postmodern rootlessness and lack of traditional values, particularly around gender roles, are behind sexlessness and delayed marriage. But the reality is more prosaic As more and more schooling becomes necessary for a good middle class job, marriage gets pushed later and later, leaving more young people, men and women, companionless and lonely. Right, Stone. He knows that this as an effect replicated around the world with different cultures. Yeah, because the Asians also are dealing with a large incel population as well. I would even say the Asians incel um issue or problem is bigger than the white males problem, because they have a bigger population. So they have I would say most likely, like Korea, Japan, the grass eaters and the lie flat movement, they have probably more male incels than even in America as far as population is concerned. So this is a dynamic that spreads across the world and in different cultures, like this article reads. So, furthermore, uh, further digging show correlations between sexlessness and living with parents, and between higher education and celibacy. In other words, wow, this is interesting. In other words, the rise of young male sexlessness isn't it about Chads and Stacy's. It isn't primarily about Tinder or Bumble, which Bumble is crashing. I don't know about Tinder. Bumble, they had to literally lay off like a big percentage of their staff. Nobody is trying to use dating apps like that. I definitely have not. I've stopped using all dating apps because it's a waste of time. I found out with dating apps, one of the things, my theory on dating apps is, because a lot of women are monogamous pretenders. Basically, they already have a relationship or even multiple relationships with men, and they're just using dating apps to as like a dual mating strategy to maybe possibly find a rich, generous simp to give them either a constant supply of dinners, or possibly a lot of money, or a better lifestyle. Basically, i.e., a rich boyfriend or husband. That's my opinion. I mean, I'm not saying that anybody else might have a different reality. They might use a different app or whatever, but that's my opinion on it. It's a lot of women that I believe are not serious, that are using dating apps, and is becoming a wasted time for quite a few men. I'm gonna be honest. I'm still out here. I mean, I ain't trying to say what I'm getting, what I do, or whatever. I mean, because I got actual women that watch me that I've been with, like that shows off top that I ain't, I ain't saying I'm that nigga, or I'm not that nigga, but I'm just saying I know for a fact that my exes watch my live streams, so I don't even try to put out what I've done or who I'm doing it with or none of that, because I ain't trying to, I one of them I know watch me. I got children with. I'll just say that. So I ain't trying to let my words be used against me, in a court of law. But yeah, it's something up with this. But let me read this further. It's not mostly about attitudinal shifts in what women want from relationships. It's not mainly about some new war between the sexes. It's mostly about people spending more years in school and spending more years living at home. But that's not actually a story about some change in sexual politics. Instead, it's a story about modern knowledge economy, and to some extent an exorbitant housing costs. This matter even if you view marriage as an outdated patriarchal institution, because these trends apply to pressure, to partnership, and social bonds of all types. And if, like Peterson, you think The only way to avoid outbreaks of male violence is forcing men and women to get married. What the fuck? You know, I'm gonna be honest. Like this comment here, this is actually it's an actual YouTube video, and it's a thumbnail. I don't know where it is. I think I posted it on my post a long time ago. I don't know where it is, but it's this comment here. And if, like Peterson, you think the only way to avoid outbreaks of male violence is forcing men and women to get married, like literally, there's a dude did a YouTube video, and it said, "Should the government give you a wife?" You know, it's like, you know, this kind of, you know, I was actually looking for that thumbnail because that kind of, like, you know, it just kind of indicative of kind of what this, you know, type of thing, this ideology or whatever it is. Like, he's saying that the government should, like, basically pair you up, which I don't agree with that. That's obviously that's literally totalitarianism. If you got the government that much in your life to where they're forcing you to get married, or even they're you know, let's just say we're in some type of sci-fi dystopian world where you get, your name gets called and you have to go to a government center to do a mate selection, and you're going to get married today, mandated by the state. That is totalitarianism through and through. So it reads further, such measures seem unlikely to overcome economic forces without quickly becoming draconian. Now, I will say, on a lighter note, Indian culture is still very much they do a lot of basically I forgot what the name of it. It's I forgot the term. It's been so long. I'm having a brain fart, but it's called forgot what it's called, but it's basically the man basically let me see. Let me look it up, because, you know, I'm having like some type of brain fart. Uh it's a certain type of marriage. I forgot the term. Y'all probably know. Um let's see here. Arranged marriage. That's what it's called. Yeah, arranged marriage. Oh yeah, yeah, you said it. I didn't even see it. Oh, you said, oh yeah. Elliot Rogers was rich. Wow. Yeah, they kind of they somebody else was talking about that. I think it was Sub Zero was talking about Elliot Rogers. He was rich. But yeah, they do arranged marriages a lot. They do. It's quite common in India, and they do arranged marriages, and actually those marriages last quite long, or they have a lower divorce rate. But see, that's not totalitarianism. The family plays a role in making sure their son or daughter is married. They have a communal effort of families arranging other families, whether it be daughter or son, to marry each other, right? And that's arranged. That's kind of close to what Jordan Peterson is basically talking about, where the state comes in and plays a role in basically arranged marriages, where Indian culture going back thousands and thousands of years, they've been practicing arranged marriage. Now, arranged marriages are done in Africa as well. Well, because see, here's the thing, right? In Africa, it might not be arranged marriages, but if a man is qualified to marry a daughter and he has a herd of cattle, that daughter is going to marry that man. If you got literally, that's where I come from. My dad's side, come from like this type of stuff, like herding cattle. If you got cattle, if your family has a lot of cattle, you literally arrange something with the father to marry his daughter, and the daughter has no say in it. You got the cattle, you automatically marrying that woman, whether she likes you or not. Because because you got cattle, you're gonna automatically get a wife. Now, that's not necessarily arranged marriage, but that's like basically very close to it, where if you want to get married and you want to offload some, and you don't mind offloading some of your cattle, you could basically get married. Now that's a dowry system. Now that's an old tradition as well. It's also in India as well. It's a lot in Islamic culture. The dowry system is very quite common. The dowry system in Islam is like basically, that they still practice that. The woman is also typically asked, what does she want as far as a dowry? She might say 10 bands. She might say $1,000. She might even say $100 because she just might want to really get married. She doesn't really care about how much she get. But I'm saying in like a lot of cultures, especially kind of like third world or up and coming nations or second world or third world nations, the woman don't have no say so. Literally, I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna be honest, I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. I am part African. If you got money, you can literally, it's parts of, and it ain't because I'm African. I'm just saying, if you got money, literally, like I'm talking about $1,000, you can literally get on a plane and go to like, it's places like Philippines. It's a lot of places in the world. If just because you got money, like all you got to do is arrange with a father. You got the dowry. That daughter is going to get married, and she's going to get married to you because you got what is required for the dowry. This is in India. This is definitely in Pakistan and Philippines, might even be Malaysia, a lot of different places in Africa. I mean, all over Africa. I mean, a lot of different places, man, they have dowry system. If you got enough money, you can literally go marry some man's daughter just based off of you having a dowry. So I mean, a lot of y'all probably don't know that, but so the dowry system is old, very very old system, and it still exists. So in case you didn't know that, now you know. So let me see here. So basically, let me further read this until it kind of closes out to something that I'm comfortable with. I'm kind of interested in more of this, like what Jordan Peterson says the government should mandate men and women be married to each other, because this is definitely kind of tripped out. So it reads further: such measures seem unlikely to overcome economic forces without quickly becoming draconian. Stone concludes that there are no easy answers when it comes to matching young people up in the modern economy. Some answers could be found in various proposals to lower the cost of housing in the US. That is not going to fucking happen. The government again has no power in controlling housing costs. I mean, basically, housing costs are determined by market conditions. Basically, the supply and demand. Now, I will say for someone that's got his house on the market right now and current real estate market conditions, real estate prices are plummeting, are dropping. I literally had to drop the price of my house by $5,000 in the last week. So housing prices are dropping, from due to various different reasons, but partly because the economy is not as robust and it's not that many real estate buyers in the market. So lowering the cost of houses attract possible buyers or residential buyers or investors to buy the real estate. So I will tell you from just the horse's mouth, literally have my house on the market now. Housing prices are dropping, and it's not just me dropping my price. If you go to realtor.com and you put up any area, you're going to, and you look at the real estate listing, it'll show you that the prices dropped on the listing. So that's nationwide, I believe. Certain markets might be different, but real estate prices are dropping right now. So just to let you know, but it's not because of the government. It's because of supply and demand. Now in the U.S., allowing more young people to live independently, or Americans could adapt their society to the economy with policies in place so that women don't suffer losses in income and prestige from early marriage and child rearing, create reasons to delay marriage until after careers are established or higher education credentials are attained. In other words, there's no need to go hunting Peterson's infamous dragon of chaos if you want to make marriage easier in a free society. Um, so yeah, that's actually damn. I read this whole god doggone article. So there you have it. You know, that's that article. Now, as promised, I'm going to watch something on Elliot Rogers, and we're going to talk about we're going to go right into the incel violence, okay? Because that is a thing, right? I ain't gonna lie, men do need women. Um, that is a fact. If you're not getting pussy for a long term basis, that just sound upsetting. Like that, men have to have some type of outlet. Literally, they don't have an outlet, it's gonna be a problem. I don't think I'm gonna play this ABC News thing because that might be some possible issues. So let's play this here. This is about 19 minutes. Let's play this on Elliot Rogers. Let's look at Elliot Rogers, one of the first famous incels in America. Let's check this out. In my opinion, a lot of the men, including even Dylan Roof, in my opinion, will classify as an incel. The reason being is the telltale mark, in my opinion, of an incel is a man that is not really have a established relationship with a woman. Like, I mean, a meaningful long-term relationship with a woman where you have a mark left. Like, if you notice, what is if you look at the guys that have, even from the Buffalo shooter, Dylan Roof, insert name here, it's two things that you notice with these guys. They don't have no, they're not like going through women. They're not like, you know, getting a lot of women, or they don't have like a long-term relationship, or they have children. Definitely none of these men have children or any established um long-term relationship with women or a history with women. Those are like the two main things that I noticed with a lot of these men. with just also being young white males as well. So it is a thing where, one of the things that I'll say, I'm trying to get some things going, but I would like to carry a weapon on me, because one of the things that I can't account for, I will say most of the time, if I got a weapon, it's most likely going to be for defending myself from a probably most likely another black male. I will admit that, but outside of that, even more kind of unpredictable. And I think about this from time to time. Like if I go into Walmart, if I go somewhere, I'm thinking, what if a white male incel with an AR-15 just start blasting off? Well, if I don't got no gun on me, what the hell am I gonna do in that situation? You know, so that situation is more scary because it's very unpredictable. Like you don't know, okay, when the next shooter is gonna come through somewhere and start shooting up the place. It happens, um, it's happening more often. I would say every year is probably like 5 or 6 incidents where some dude is probably classified as an incel shooting up something or plowing somebody with a car through the street or whatever. So this is a big thing. Incel violence is an issue in America. And I'm not the only one that has noticed this and have said this, obviously, but it is a thing. And this guy is like one of the first guys that probably even inspire other incels to enact violence. Okay. When, to be honest, here's the thing. I have to state the obvious. And I've said this before. Even me being 6'2", muscular, such and such and such and such, I have bought pussy in my life. Okay. I've had droughts where I broke droughts by buying pussy. Like if you have a scourge or you have particular tastes where or not so much taste, but one of the things that I notice also about incels is that they're picky. They want a particular outcome. If they don't have that outcome, they're just not engaging with women. And the thing is this: as a man, like I said, I have gotten with eights, and you know, I think the highest chick I ain't gonna say I've been with a dime. I've never been with a dime. I'll say that. Not even, I'll be honest, a 9. I think I've been with eights before, back when I was at college. Like I ain't gonna I'm not capping. But the thing is, I have been with a lot of women. And some of those women were ugly, some of those women were fat. Some of them were fat and ugly. But I was fucking. Like sometimes you gotta fuck just to, like you gotta you might have to sometimes you might have to take what you can get. Like literally, like if you got a fat ugly chick trying to give you some pussy, like you just gotta motherfucking, you know what I'm saying? Go for what you know. Like I mean, it's those times. Like you might, you know what I'm saying? Just whatever you can do to get out that drought. You get out the drought, and then okay, things improve. Maybe you go somewhere else, and then you get a better situation. Or even worse, sometimes you might have to buy some pussy. I'll be honest. I've heard somebody say this. I don't remember who said this, but let's say, and I'm not really. Here's the thing: I'm 40 some years old. I done been with a whole bunch of women. I have made women. I got kids. Okay, I'm at the point where I'm making women. Like I have produced women. Like I mean, future women of America. Like I'm not into, I'm not trying, like, you know what I'm saying? I'm not on some, trying to be a playboy or some shit like that. I'm an older man. I'm much more laid back but I'm still, definitely, I'm not celibate or anything, but I'm just saying, as a man that have, basically, I've been with women for at least 20 years now, over 20 years. It's times where, yeah, like I said, I've gotten with ugly chicks, fat and ugly chicks, fat chicks. Um, I've even paid to get laid. I mean, it's just like sometimes if you in a drought, you gotta do whatever you gotta do to get in a drought. But the thing with these incels, one of the things that I noticed, they like too picky. Like even I'll just say this, like Nick Fuentes. Nick Fuentes is actually would be considered an incel. He's actually probably an incel leader. He's a leader of other, he's a basically a popular right wing white nationalist leader, and he's also an incel, right? So I mean, like he's picky. He wants a particular outcome. I think is more religious and all of that. Like he wants a particular outcome. And one of the things that I notice about these incels is that they want a particular outcome. They want things to be a certain way, or they want a certain woman and all. Now, like that, I will say that's probably one of the reasons why they're not getting laid. Like, even I would even say I have to point this out before I play this video. A lot of white men actually can get with black women because it be black women that be trying to get with white dudes, and they might be in a phase, or they might be even like they just, I guess, will call themselves a divester or some shit like that. They want white dudes, and a lot of white dudes can actually get with black women, but they don't even want to get with black women because they want a particular type of woman. And I have to admit as well, I fuck white women. I've been with white women. I currently have been with white women. It does not matter. If you got a pussy, you can get it sometimes. Like, as long as you're healthy, clean, you most likely can get it. If you know what I'm saying, if I ain't getting none and you trying to give it up, I'm gonna take it. Like a lot of these incels, they're picky and particular about certain shit. Like, nah, sometimes you just gotta, say fuck it and literally fuck it. Like, I mean, this is not dating advice, but that's one of the things that I noticed about these incels. And I think that, hopefully they'll watch this video and maybe, I don't know, some kind of way rechannel their thoughts or whatever. But yeah, that shit, fuck that shit, man. Fuck all of these, like what people think about you. I'm on the internet, my face, I'm on here, not anonymous or anything, not behind the avatar, telling you, yes, I have bought pussy before to break a fucking drought. I will do it again. There's nothing wrong with that. Like, I don't do it all the time. I have not done it in a while. But if I ever got in a drought, I'm talking like 6 months to a year, I will with no concern whatsoever buy some pussy. I mean, like, I be right in it. But it's like, yeah, like a lot of these incels, they want a particular type of situation and outcome and all of that. Fuck all that. Sometimes you just gotta take one for the team, or you gotta motherfucking, get your dick wet. It's part of being a man, and fuck all of what society wants and all these other, schisms and isms and all of this shit. That's one of the things I notice about these incels. Like, sometimes you gotta have, it's like it's a certain carnal thing when it comes to sex, it's like, in order to be it's almost a level of aggression, right? Sex is an aggressive act, right? Well, if you're suppressing it and you're suppressing it too long and you ain't getting no practice in, you got to get some practice in. And I'm not talking about masturbation. you got to get some practice in. And I'm not talking about no sex doll either. You got to fuck. You got to motherfucking goddamn it, you know, get one of these fat ugly bitches and wrestle this motherfucker, wrestle that pussy, and get you some practice in, man. Like, you know, get you an older woman that's 55 and you know she can't get pregnant most likely. You know, and then a lot of dudes, you know what, when I was younger, I used to have a fear of getting a chick pregnant too. If I had to go, I'm gonna tell you, from my younger self to my older self, and it's even a lot of guys, they have a fear of getting a chick pregnant. I'm gonna tell you that shit. I got something for you. And this is for my younger self. If I had to tell my younger self to my older self, like my guys, my friends that I grew up with, you know, and they brothers, they had children when they was younger, you know, like in their teens and like when they was 18 or 19 or 20, and my ass was like scared and concerned and thinking about all of this goofy shit. I mean, I definitely was more concerned about STDs. That was my fear. But I mean, if I had to go in a time machine, man, I was too over concerned for that. Like it's I'm not gonna say it's not, children are not a big deal. They are, but I was making it more of a big deal than what it was. And a lot of the guys that really, you can't really, I've said this before and I'll say it again. You cannot consider yourself an alpha male or even a sigma male if you scared to fuck and get a bitch pregnant. Okay.
You're automatically beta. Automatically you're beta. You're beta as fuck.
Okay, so I done loaded all of this up. Let me play this video here. I don't know if I'm gonna get to 19 minutes, but we're gonna see that. We're gonna see how far we can get through with this.
Hi, Elliot Roger here. Well, this is my last video. It all has to come to this. Tomorrow is the day of retribution. The day in which I will have my revenge against humanity. Against all of you.
On May 23rd, 2014, 22-year-old Elliot Rogers uploaded a video on YouTube titled Elliot Rogers Retribution. This video would outline Rogers' motives for what he was about to do. He explained that he wanted to punish women for the years of rejection and the men because he envied them. He would then go on to commit what would now be known as the 2014 Isla Vista killings. Elliot Oliver Robertson Roger was born on July 24, 1991 in Lambeth, London, United Kingdom, to his mother, Lee Chen Roger, and his father, Peter Roger, a British filmmaker and photographer. By the time Elliot Roger was 5, his parents, along with his little sister Georgia, moved back to California in the United States. By the time Elliot was 7 years old, his parents divorced, and a year later, much to Elliot's displeasure,
I say earlier. What the fuck did I say earlier? See? I mean, it's not that fucking like, it's not like Japanese algebra. Like, it's very, I mean, you know, this was stuff that I took in college, like when I was going to school to be a sociologist. Um they talked about once your parents split up, like a lot of people have problems once their parents split up. And you know, if you don't have your father has that male testosterone, that male presence. When you don't have that around, that shit is man, that's a big missing piece, man. That's like the missing link. Like when you don't have your father around, I don't care if he ain't got money or whatever. If your father is not around you from the time you a little boy to you growing up, adolescence, because if your parents divorced when you like turn 18, like mine did, I'm a man already. I've already went through all of the stages of development. You've had your father around. You probably it might affect some people differently. They might be depressed. They might be concerned about it. I knew my parents was gonna break up anyway because they used to break up a lot of time. Like my dad, he used to like just leave because they'd get into it. So it was times in my life where when I was a little boy, my parents would break up and they'll be broke up for a period of time. Then they reconcile or whatever, and then they be back in the house. But what I'm saying is, long term, with your father not being around, it affects you, both men and women. And as far as growing up, that's a missing link. So when I thought about like what is the reasons, I'm thinking before I did this live stream, I was like, what is the reason that they're incels? Like, what are the causes? And I thought of certain things, and definitely Lewis, he added the economic element as well as other elements to the equation. But I definitely said, yeah, when you are divorced, you're a product of divorce, or your mom splits up with the dad and the dad's not around, it's bingo. Matter of fact, before I did this live stream, I downloaded some of the things that things that I saw as far as before, and it was like this, just this right here. This is a bit major thing. Okay, this all comes from fatherless homes. 63% of youth suicides, 90% of all homeless and runaway children, 85% of all children exhibiting behavior disorders, 80% of rapists motivated with displaced anger, 71% of all high school dropouts, 75% of all adolescents, patients, and chemical abuse centers, 70% of juvenile and state operated institutions, 85% of all youth sitting in prisons come from fatherless homes.
Message.
So, I mean, literally, like, I already, you know what I'm saying? I already linked that element to it. And here you go. Elliot Rodgers, bingo, right there.
His father would remarry. This would be the start of Elliot Rodgers' downward spiral. Elliot had a hard time fitting in wherever he went. His parents would move him from school to school, hoping to.
And here's the thing, and blended families, interracial couples or whatever. Like, even me, I'll just say, like, my mother and father technically are not an interracial couple. My mother being African American, my father being an African, or whatever you want to call it, tether, you want to, what I mean, all this bullshit, right? Like, here's the thing with even myself, like, I'm not from an interracial relationship per se, but I can kind of understand what this guy possibly had a problem. See, one of the things about me is that to a certain degree, I'm kind of like a hybrid. Like, this guy, he's a Asian white guy. Like, he can't, okay, the Asians don't necessarily, he probably doesn't get accepted by the Asians. The white people don't accept him because he's half Asian. So he's literally, like, when you have a situation where you have an interracial, and maybe even Lewis, he could probably identify with this as well, being black and white, like on multiracial, white and black. Like, you're kind of like, it's almost like you're creating a new species to a certain degree, in the fact that is no one really like you. Like, both sides don't like each other. Like even me, African Americans don't like Africans, Africans don't like African Americans, and just because I'm both, they don't fully. I'm not saying that I don't get accepted. I do get accepted from my African side, but it's like basically, um, both of them, are at odds with each other to a certain degree. It's not like a big deal. Like it's getting a more of a big deal, and I think that's due to the state of the economy. People get broke, and then they start to blame other people and be picky and shit like that. When people got money and they balling out of control, they don't really complain that much. And all of the racial identity, like politics and complaining, is just broke people complaining pretty much. And I've said that many times. I'll stand on that hill, I'll die on that hill. When you got money, you really don't have that much to complain about. I mean, to a certain degree. Now, this guy actually exploits that theory because they saying he's actually was rich. Now, he's did that video, and I could tell that's a luxury car because you could see the leather seats, the black on black leather, a leather steering wheel with leather seats. That's definitely a luxury car, okay? But and it's like most people can't really even afford a luxury car like that. So when you got a luxury car, it feels good driving it because it's luxury. It's a nice car, and it's like it still doesn't make you happy though, right? But him being a hybrid, like I say, where he probably I would even say, I mean, he's not alive to qualify this, but I would say that if I asked him, did you feel accepted from white society or your Asian society, I guarantee you he would say not fully. Like what I'm saying, it's like you're not, what I'm saying, you're not like everyone else. You're different. You're not fully white, you're not fully Asian, you're a combination of both, right? So it's almost like you have an identity that's unique that probably only other people that have your same identity will understand you more or whatever, or have some type of full acceptance possibly to you. So that also plays a role as well. I didn't even know this. This is the first time me seeing this or whatever.
Find a place where Elliot could succeed and fit in. Elliot would later write, "My 9-year-old self realized that there were hierarchies, that some people were better than others. Jealousy and envy. Those are two feelings that would dominate my entire life and bring me immense pain." Throughout his childhood and teenage years, Elliot Rodger would hold in his growing rage and anger. He was an introverted teenager who claims to have been bullied in high school, with incidents of food being thrown at him, being picked on, and pushed into lockers. "I was an innocent, scared little boy trapped in a jungle full of malicious predators, and I was shown no mercy," Elliot would later write.
And then another thing is, and I missed this. I almost missed this, but I don't miss much. When you don't have no brothers, or he might have. I mean, he might have been the only child. I don't know if he was the only child, but you got also that only child syndrome. And when you got brothers, man, you have other examples outside of even your father of other men like yourself, and then your brothers will give you a rites of passage too. That's why a lot of dudes is real tough. They got brothers. They've been fighting their brothers and stuff like that, coming up with their brothers. And then their brothers have they back. So somebody get into it with them, it's consequences. So somebody, rough you up, you go tell your older brother gonna come back, and he gonna wreck shop on whoever, was messing with you. And then to be honest, a lot of dudes was not gonna mess with you. Like I tell you this, like I had a dude I grew up with that lived down the street from me, one of my best friends. He stayed on my same block. He had a brother that was like about 5 or 6 years older than him. No. He was like 4 or 5. Yeah, 4 or 5 years older than him. And he had an older brother, another older brother that, because his older brother, his middle brother was a grown man already, like in his 20s when he was in high school. Then he had another brother that was like in his late 20s when he was in high school. So had two older brothers, and one of his brothers was in the gang. So ain't nobody, hardly anybody mess with him. You know, he got along with everybody for the most part, but very rarely did anybody mess with him, because they knew if they messed with him, his older brother was gonna be held to pay for it. You know, and a lot of dudes that had older brothers, nobody hardly really messed with them. If they like kids, they like to pick on weak targets. People are animals. You know, animals pick on weak targets. They choose weak targets, right? That would, you know, targets that might have minimal or no consequence. It's just the nature of the beast, right? So a lot of times, dudes that, you know, basically had brothers, ain't nobody hardly mess with them, because they knew their brother was gonna come and wreck shop, and the brother was gonna fight, and they was gonna have to fight the other dude too. You know, so they was gonna for sure get jumped if they mess with, you know, they mess with the guy. So him growing up, you know, probably most likely didn't have no brothers. That has something to play with it as well. And an older brother sets an example. And then a lot of times, here's another thing. Like, I had another friend that I grew up, that I went to high school with. He had a brother that was like a year or two older. They used to go get women together. He used to teach him how to pick up chicks. They used to go out and get chicks together. You know, it's like your brother is your wingman. If you got an older brother, 9 times out of 10, your older brother, especially if he closer to age to you, he's your wingman. So he kind of like your best friend and your wingman. So your older brother gonna help you get laid, you know. So it's like, you know, that's why I used to kick it with him, because it was like I was like the brother number 3. Like, I would, you know, basically, I mean, I was like, you know, they was helping me get laid, you know, like, and it's like, yeah, your friends, if you ain't got no friends as well, like, you know, that's important for a man to have friends, right? So, like, yeah, that just, all of that is a recipe, man, to, you know, make life harder, you know. So yeah, like, yeah, it's, I had to put that into perspective, because that's a very key point as well.
His diary. While Elliot would become angry over men having everything, he himself would live a very carefree and famed life as a teenager. He would wear expensive designer clothes and sunglasses and drive a BMW. But one thing that he did not
See, like, yeah, man, this dude had a nice car. I mean, I ain't never even had no BMW. I mean, you can get a BMW, but can you afford to fix it? You can get a Benz, but can you afford to fix it? You know, this dude looked like he could afford to get it fixed. You know, so I mean, but all of this is just, you know, if you ain't got it in your soul, if you ain't got it in your mind, body, and soul, your cars, your clothes, that ain't it ain't really, you know, it's not nothing that, you know, can um you know, it helps, but if you ain't got it in yourself, in your internal self, what I mean by it is confidence, and that cunningness and confidence, and being calculated to go out and get whatever you want, including women. Your cars and all that stuff don't matter. You know what I'm saying? I didn't got women. I remember my car broke down. Shit, yeah, my car had broke down. I got on the bus and went and got some pussy. Shit, man, I got on the bus. Man, I motherfucker got on the bus, man. Matter of fact, I almost missed the bus. I was chasing the bus down. This was back when I was broke as fuck. I was so goddamn broke. I could, man, man. and I was chasing that bus down, boy. I got in that bus, man. Went from the suburbs to Chicago. You know what I'm saying? And it was on and popping from then on. But yeah, it ain't it's inside the man and not outside the man.
Not have, and what would fill him with anger and rage was a girlfriend. Females and sex became an obsession of Elliot Rogers. In one of his found journals, Elliot would write, "Finding out about sex is one of the things that truly destroyed my life entirely. Sex, the very word fills me with hate. I would always covet it. I would always fantasize about it, but I would never get it." After graduating high school, Elliot Rodger would move to Santa Barbara and attend Santa Barbara City College. He would later stop going to classes, and his anger was further fueled by the experiences of college life. He would frequent online forums and post about his growing frustrations and anger, with one forum post saying, "Start envisioning a world where women fear you." On top of his growing rage, Elliot Rodger became obsessed with losing his virginity, and his inability to have a normal conversation with a woman would only leave him frustrated and angry. Elliot finally reached a boiling point while attending a college party. In his twisted mind, he would give women one last chance to help him lose his virginity before he turned 22 years old. Girls at the college party ignored him, which only angered him more. At one point, Elliot tried pushing several women off of a balcony ledge, but a group of men intervened and shoved him off instead, resulting in a broken ankle. Elliot had seen many therapists during this time, but he was never formally diagnosed with any mental illness. This allowed him to legally purchase 3 handguns to use in his attack. Elliot would also upload videos onto his YouTube channel expressing his anger and rage, but sadly, nobody really saw them, as they would have clearly seen the red flags. He would constantly complain about being rejected by women and why he never had a girlfriend.
Hey, Elliot Rodger here. I'm up in the hills in Montecito right now. It's truly a beautiful day. But, as I've always said, a beautiful environment is the darkest hell if you have to experience it all alone. And sadly, I've been alone for a very long time. I've been attending college in Santa Barbara for about 2.5 years now. In those 2.5 years, I've experienced nothing but loneliness and misery. And my problem is girls. There are so many beautiful girls here, but none of them give me a chance. I don't know why. I don't know why you girls are so repulsed by me. It doesn't make sense. I do everything I can to appear attractive to you. Dress nice. I'm sophisticated and magnificent. I have a nice car, a BMW. Well, nicer than 90% of the people in my college. I'm polite. I'm the ultimate gentleman. And yet, you girls never give me a chance. I don't know why. I put a lot of effort into dressing nice. These sunglasses here were $300. Giorgio Armani. I'll put them on. See? Hold on. Car. See? Look at how fabulous I look. I feel so invisible as I walk through my college because none of the girls there pay attention to me. I see so many beautiful blonde-haired girls walking around everywhere. Your revealing shorts, your cascading blonde hair, their pretty faces. And I want one for a girlfriend. I want to take a girl out on a date and prove to her that I'm worthy. I want to feel that sense of being worthy of a girl's love, affection. I'm 22 years old, and I've never had a girlfriend. I'm still a virgin. I've never had the pleasure of having sex with a girl, sleeping with a girl, kissing a girl. Never even held a girl's hand. Hell, don't even have a young girl's phone number in my cell phone. And that's just such an injustice because I'm so magnificent. I deserve girls much more than all those slobs I see at my college who are somehow able to walk around with beautiful girls. I mean, even in the college town that I stay in during my semesters, I walk around like the common areas of those towns or the areas where all the college parties happen. I see these obnoxious guys walking with beautiful girls. And that pisses me off because I should be the one with the girls. I mean, look at me. I'm gorgeous. But you girls don't see it. I don't understand why you're so repulsed by me. Why won't you give me a chance?
Elliot Rogers slowly planned out what he would call Retribution Day. Elliot's mother, Lee Chen, had not heard from her son in a while. Calling it mother's intuition, she began searching on the internet and stumbled upon Elliot's YouTube account. She called Elliot's life coach and revealed the discovery of his disturbing YouTube videos. The Santa Barbara District Mental Health Hotline was then called, and they alerted police to make a welfare check on Elliot. 6 police officers showed up at Elliot Rogers' door, but Elliot fooled them, saying, "You've got nothing to worry about," before they eventually left. On Friday, May 23rd, in 2014, Elliot Rodger would set out on his endless rampage, wound 13 others. His murderous rampage started at his apartment on Seville Road. Rogers waited for each of his 2 roommates and ambushed them with a knife. He fatally stabbed 20-year-old Ching Yang Hong, who was originally from Taiwan and had graduated from high school in San Jose, California. Rogers then stabbed 20-year-old Wei Hang Wang, a computer programmer who was attending UCSB. Hong and Wang were best friends, rooming with Elliot Rogers. The third victim was 19-year-old George Chen, who was visiting at the time. He was at the wrong place at the wrong time. After the stabbings, Rogers would leave and visit a coffee shop for coffee, with not a care in the world for the heinous acts that he just committed. At 9:17 p.m., Elliot Rogers would upload his retribution video to his YouTube channel.
I'll take great pleasure in slaughtering all of you. You will finally see that I am, in truth, the superior one, the true alpha male. Yes. After I've annihilated every single girl in the sorority house, I'll take to the streets of Isla Vista and slay every single person I see there. All those popular kids who live such lives of hedonistic pleasure while I've had to rot in loneliness for all these years. They've all looked down upon me every time I tried to go out and join them. They've all treated me like a mouse. Well, now, I will be a god compared to you. You will all be animals. You are animals, and I will slaughter you like animals. I'll be a god, exacting my retribution. All those who deserve it. And you do deserve it. Just for the crime of living a better life than me. All you popular kids. You've never accepted me. And now you'll all pay for it.
Elliot Rodger would also email a 107,000-word manifesto to 34 people, which included his therapist, his parents, other family, former teachers, and childhood friends. Upon receiving the email, Roger's therapist phoned Elliot's mother, Lee Chin, who in return viewed the retribution video on Elliot's YouTube channel. Roger's father was also contacted. His parents headed to Santa Barbara, California. They contacted the Isla Vista Police Department en route, telling them of their son's plans. Elliot Roger drove to the Alpha Phi sorority house, but the doors were all locked. He tried to knock on the doors, but luckily nobody answered inside. This angered Rogers, and he began shooting people nearby at the Alpha Phi sorority house. Rogers would shoot and kill 19-year-old Veronica Weiss, who was a freshman at UCSB, and he also shot 22-year-old Katie Cooper, a senior. Both were members of the Delta 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 sorority. He also injured a third person before fleeing the scene. While driving around Isla Vista, Rogers began firing into a coffee shop on Pardall Road, then shooting into a delicatessen, where he struck 7 times and killed 20-year-old Christopher Ross Michaels Martinez. Elliot Rogers then drove his car south on Embarcadero del Norte on the wrong side of the street, where he struck a pedestrian. He also shot at 2 people on the sidewalk, luckily missing them both. Rogers then shot a couple that were exiting a pizzeria, as well as a female cyclist. He drove around shooting at, but missing, people walking on the sidewalks. Elliot Rogers then started shooting at a sheriff's deputy that was responding to an active shooter call, striking and injuring 2 other pedestrians. Rogers fled the sheriff's deputy, shooting and wounding 3 other people on Sabato Tarde Street. He also struck a skateboarder and 2 cyclists with his BMW before turning east on Sabato Tarde, where he struck another skateboarder with his car. Rogers then shot and wounded 2 other men at the intersection of Camino Pasadero. Police then pursued him, and during the chase, Rogers struck another cyclist before crashing his BMW on the north sidewalk just east of the intersection of Del Playa and Camino Pasadero. The police had Elliot Rogers' crashed BMW surrounded. As they approached the vehicle, they found Rogers dead inside of his car. In the end, Elliot Rogers took his own life with a self-inflicted gunshot wound to his head. While searching his BMW, the police found 3 pistols, various knives, 6 empty 10-round magazines, and 548 rounds of unspent ammunition. Elliot Rogers would leave behind a lot of unanswered questions and leave many to wonder as to what led him down this murderous path. He would also leave behind a vast digital trail. His YouTube videos would be analyzed by the news media and internet sleuths. His manifesto would give everyone a peek into the dark and murderous mindset that Elliot Rogers had. Rogers stated in the manifesto that he planned to kill his half-brother and stepmother, but he was not mentally prepared to kill his own father. Rogers also originally set out to start his killing spree on Halloween 2013, but reconsidered because there was a huge presence of police officers. Elliot Rogers also revealed that his retribution was to be set into various phases. In his manifesto, he states, "On the day before the day of retribution, I will start the first phase of my vengeance, silently killing as many people as I can around Isla Vista by luring them into my apartment through some form of trickery." His second phase would be a war on women. He would state, "The second phase will take place on the day of retribution itself, just before the climactic massacre. My war on women. I will attack the very girls who represent everything I hate about the female gender, the hottest sorority of UCSB." He would take things even further, imagining a world of all females living in bondage. Rogers would write, "To quarantine all women in concentration camps. At these camps, the vast majority of the female population will be deliberately starved to death. That would be an efficient and fitting way to kill them all off. I would have an enormous tower built just for myself and gleefully watch them all die.
Now here's the thing. People talk about misogyny. That is true misogyny. Like he wants to actually, he talking about he wants to put women in a concentration camp and starve them to death, and basically slowly, ultimately die. That is a misogynist. A lot of women talk about dudes are misogynists, and they just probably complain because they had some women that treated them wrong or treated them unfairly or whatever, and maybe they can't get no pussy as much as they want to or whatever. This dude wasn't getting nothing. He was a virgin, 22. He was, basically outcast from social circles. Like he hated women, absolutely hated women. That is a true misogynist. It don't get no extreme than that. Like I ain't never talk about I want women to die. No other. I very few men I have heard them say that they want to actually kill women. I mean, like that is, true. A true misogynist can't stand women. Wants them to ultimately, like, go away and die. Like this is what I'm talking about. Like, this is a textbook, true, authentic misogynist. A misogynist don't talk about he want to get married. That's not this motherfucker want to get. He want to put women in a concentration camp and bang them up and slowly watch them fucking their slow demise. Like this is crazy. I never even heard none of this. Is the first time this happened. Like I don't know when it happened. I forgot, but like I wasn't really getting the timeline. But I think this was the early 2000s. Like this was old as hell, and I've heard many people talk about this guy, but I never really took a deep dive in this dude. This is my first time, because yes, he definitely was like one of the earliest identified incels, right? So yeah, let me finish playing this.
Some online incel communities, Elliot Rogers is looked upon as a saint and a savior, and many incels believe that his actions were justifiable. If you are like an old school Generation Xer like myself and have no clue as to what an incel even is, the definition of incel is a member of an online community of young men who consider themselves unable to attract women sexually and are typically associated with views that are hostile towards women and men who are sexually active. Since the Elliot Rogers shooting, it seems that the mainstream media is obsessed with 24-hour, non-stop mass shootings and serial killer coverage. After all, murder pays the bills and keeps the lights on. Some examples are Jack Davidson, who killed 5 people in August 2021. It is said that he was fascinated by serial killers and incel culture. And only recently, we have 28-year-old Brian Koberger, who will soon be on trial for the Moscow, Idaho murders of 4 college students. Some believe that Koberger had an incel complex that may have driven him to kill. Elliot Rogers was not the first, and sadly, he will probably not be the last.
Message.
So someone said earlier that there's no black incels or there's not that many or whatever, but there's a dude that O'Shea Duke Jackson basically brought to my attention on one of his. I don't know if that video, I couldn't find his video, but I found the dude video that, in my opinion, kind of identifies. He might not identify as an incel, but look how you saw the documentary, or this guy did a documentary on Elliot Rodgers. Now I'm gonna watch this. I'm gonna show this video, and I want you to notice the similarities. And this is a black dude.
What is up, y'all? That boy, short bald dude here, back at you with another presentation. Shout out Savvy Guy, and it has come to my attention that that man O'Shea Duke Jackson been fucking with the boy. He made a response video to one of my videos. Analytics been going crazy and shit. So shout out to you, O'Shea. It's actually so crazy that you responded back and shit like that, because it's funny. I've been man, I don't want to fanboy right now, but I've been a long time supporter of O'Shea for years now. Back in the Kevin Samuels days, rest in peace to the Godfather and all that jazz. But yeah, that's a whole nother thing. So, but yeah, shout out to you, O'Shea. I really appreciate you, bro. There's gonna be a video about I'm a supporter of having excursions, right? Going on vacations, really exploring what this simulation has to offer, right? Traveling, so to speak, right? But I'm not necessarily a passport bro. You feel me? I don't like that whole. I think passport bro has kind of a negative connotation in association with purchasing, buying P. And buying P, that's a whole nother video. I explained it.
Again, who fucking cares? I mean, like caring about what other people think about you, that will keep your dick dry for sure. Just in case you know any incels out there, or incels watch this video, you caring about what other people think, and you want things to be a particular way and all of that other shit. I'm gonna tell you, from a man to a incel that ain't got no parts of the pussy. I've been getting parts of the pussy since 1996. I'm a fuck if it's bombs dropping over my head, and I'm a goddamn run to safety, and it's the first bitch I catch, that not catch, but if the first bitch I see that want to fuck, I'm fucking. Even if it's a war going on, I'm trying to fuck. I'm trying to fuck no matter what. Like, I mean, I don't know what, and I don't even fuck like that. I don't even be out there like that. Like, it's dudes that I know, they do way more than I do. They some horny bastards. Like, they'll fuck anything. I know dudes that fuck their cousin. I ain't never touched one of my cousins. And it's like, they'll fuck anything walking. Like, I'm not even that bad, but I understand to a certain extent. Yeah, I'm trying to, black men, that's our reputation for the most part. We'll fuck no matter what. Like, I mean, even under systemic oppression or whatever, no job, a job, unemployed, employed, we trying to fuck. Like, the thing is that, yeah, like you notice that one of the things, like I said, I noticed about the whole incel logic, they particular about how they want things to be sexually. Like, sometimes sometimes shit, you might have to not pay, you might have to pay whoever, you might luck up and find somebody that you vibe and kick it with, and y'all both like each other. I mean, most of the chicks I've been with, I ain't had to pay shit. I didn't have women pay me shit. I mean, it's just, it depends, man, But that's one of the things I noticed. But let me finish playing this guy video.
Talked about buying P and my thoughts on that also in previous videos, but I'm not really for buying P. I think ideally you should be able to get it the natural way, obviously. And if you can't do it, I feel like that's just a sign. If you can't do it naturally, then I feel like that's just a sign. If I was in that position, I don't think I would even I don't even know what I would do in that position, so I'm not even gonna speak on that. But that's a sign, man. And to add on to that's a sign thing, I'm trying to bring it all together, guys. Work with me here.
And he said it himself. And then notice this: leather seats, leather steering wheel. That's a multi. That's a I think they call that a Panamera, or he got dual shit. He got dual I forgot they call them I had plenty of cars that had I forgot they call the windows on top that slide down, sliding windows, you know what I'm saying? I forgot what they call, but he got a nice car. He said even himself he got money, you know. I ain't gonna even lie to you. All my money for the last few years have been going into my house, you know, and I ain't really been trying, you know, I got a decent car that's about to be paid off. I got my Nissan, but it's got issues, but it ain't nice like this. Like I ain't got no nice car like that. Like no like I don't have no nice luxury car, you know what I'm saying? No modern luxury car, you know. I'm gonna probably get one, you know, once I sell my house or something. But the thing is that, you know, I just can't understand having that, and then you're not, you know, getting no women, because it's like, man, that shit's supposed to, you know, be an added, like it should be an enhancement to help you out. Like I remember I was driving down the street. It was a dude. He was in a Charger, and he had his girlfriend in the car with him, or his wife or something. They was kicking it. Like that's how it's supposed to be, man. When you got you a nice car and shit, man, you supposed to have you a little side piece or whatever, man, kicking it with you, man. Women love cars, you know, especially if you got a nice car.
Sorry, y'all, I'm drawing a blank here. A little gray area. Hope y'all don't mind, but traveling is cool, man. Traveling, you know, expand your horizons, because there's a lot of shit to see out there in the world, especially outside of your country. I'm all for that, but I don't know, that whole yeah, that's what I was talking about. Buying, nah, man, I'm not really for buying the whole thing out of this ordeal. But if it's that big of a conundrum for you, and you don't have the mental willpower, just check out, man. Check out the game, man. I mean, I don't know what to tell you, man, because I don't want to give my own personal views on what I would do, but I'm just keeping it a stack with you, bro. But yeah, back to the main topic of this video. Yeah, people, I'm not sure like what exactly is a passport, bro. I'm not gonna look up the definition in this video, because I'm you know, these type of videos I just do live. I'm not gonna look up what exactly a passport, bro, is and what exactly it entails. But I don't know. For me, it's kind of just like obvious. It's so funny. It's ironic actually, because I care about. I mean, obviously, I'm a heterosexual male. I care about, you know, getting vagina. I care about getting pussy. But like, if I gotta deracinate myself from my own home country just to do it, you know, yeah. And I'm not really for all that, you know. And it's funny because I've been reading some of the comments, and you know, I appreciate it. I appreciate
You're a victim.
All the new subscribers, you know, all the people leaving a comment. I haven't gotten back to everyone yet, but I definitely will try to reply to all of y'all. But yo, damn, lost my train of thought again, and I'm getting a little tongue tied too, y'all. So y'all bear with me, man. I'm trying to say though, bro. It's been crazy, man. So yes to travel. Yes, for sure to traveling. Because I went to and matter of fact, not only traveling, but also try to see if you can do it alone. All right, let's talk about solo traveling, shall we? I think solo traveling, that's really for your spirit, and that's for the individualistic person, right? That's for the fucking at their own pace in life, right? Not being rushed, not being yapped at, complained at for, the most minimalistic thing, right? And, man, I'm trying to tell you, I would encourage anyone to fucking go solo traveling for sure. I went to England and Amsterdam, had the time of my life. If I had a bitch, I would have cherished that moment as well. But we have to make do with what we have, and I only had myself. And don't get me wrong, it was a great experience, right? But I I love that experience, and I took some pictures. I actually got some pictures taken. I got some professional pictures taken from a photographer and what. They came out really well. That was a good experience. But yeah, in regards to, I kind of veered away from the whole fucking main point. But yeah, the point was, passport bros, and yeah, man, I don't think I can. I just don't like it. I'm not gonna associate with it, but I do enjoy traveling, and you should get I encourage everybody to get a passport. Be a passport haver. I don't. That's me speaking on myself. I'm a passport haver, but I'm not gonna personally align with the bro part, passport bro. That's I don't know. It's just kind of little murky waters there for short bald dude, and I just don't want to veer into that lane right now. But yeah, guys, that's I think I expressed my thoughts clearly and as concise as I could, right? On the topic at hand. So please remember, if you're a new viewer, leave a like, comment, subscribe, talk to me, y'all. You know what I'm saying? What are your thoughts on it? You know what I'm saying? On this passport bro. Are you a passport bro? You know what I'm saying? Someone tell me what the exact definition of passport bro is. And is the whole sec.
Let me play another video because it doesn't really he got a he kind of doesn't really go into what his problems are, but let's see here, man. Okay, this right here.
So I'm a loser, man. I ain't gonna lie to y'all, man. I'm gonna keep it a stack, bro. I wasn't purposely trying to become a loser or anything along those lines, but I don't know. I kind of saw me going down the least popular path in life. And I don't know, I just didn't steer clear from it, man. I just kept on going. Like I seen I was going the wrong way and just said, fuck it. I'm already on this downtrodden path, so I'm gonna continue type shit. That's really how it was for me. And I'm a loser, not in the sense that, I'm unproductive or don't do anything useful in my life. I still work a full-time job as of right now. Definitely have a pretty good savings. I'm financially savvy, smart. I'm saying? My finances are in order, shit like that, but I don't really have hobbies, man. I ain't gonna lie, man. Like, y'all gonna say I'm crying about my hype, but it is what it is, bro. Like, this is a common reoccurrence on this channel at this point. So I don't know. I just found
My friend that he had an older brother that I used to kick it with. It was like I was like assistant wingman or whatever. He was shorter than me. I was like 6'2", almost 6'3". He was like 5'9", maybe, or something like that. He got way more pussy than I did. I mean, to this day, like this nigga, he get him. He can get him. He married now, but he can get he could get him anytime he want. Like it ain't got nothing to do with how tall or short you are. That's a cop out because you got, like I said, three things: confidence, be cunning, and calculated. Be like a hunter, and go get what you want out of life. Like those are the common characteristics, of a man is gonna get what he want out of life. Like if you don't have that shit, that's where your problem is. It ain't got nothing to do with you being tall or short.
out my shit was cooked. I just found out I'm romantically cooked as far as my SMV goes. Because
Now see, notice I just played Elliot Rogers like 15 minutes, 20 minutes ago. Notice the same type of fucking narrative. The same type of fucking voice. I mean, not voice, but the same talking points, the same I'm a loser, I gave up, type of shit. Like he's saying that is very similar to the other dude, the violent incel. Now he did. I don't know if he gonna mention it on this video, but he kind of alludes to just basically get like just offing yourself because you ain't hitting on shit in life. He one of them. He talks about that from time to time. That I caught him talking about that. But yeah, like I mean it is black men that are incels. I mean, I know we, black people, we don't like the whole L's and shit like that, but this guy does consider he said himself, he considers himself a loser.
Because of immutable characteristics. Keyword height. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know, that kind of led me going down the wrong path, man. And it left me feeling like complacent with where I am in life. And don't get me wrong, I'm in a very comfortable spot in life, but it's like I feel like you should never be complacent in life. Because once you're complacent, I feel like that's when death comes earlier. Shit like that, And I kind of do want to get this simulation over with. But anyway, that's besides the point. I don't know, man. I kind of I feel like I let my younger self down, but not really so much in a sense because I didn't know that hype would be this drastic to overall life quality for men. So it's like, I couldn't foresee what I'm experiencing now as a child. But I don't know. Like I said, I really don't have a social life. I don't have friends or anything like that, and I'm not complaining about it. I'm not I'm not on that type of time with it. I actually don't mind it. I'm fine with it. It's called being self-actualized, self-realized, and understanding and accepting who you are as a person. And I kind of came to this realization a couple years back that I might be a loser, man, because why don't I have friends, bro? Why don't I have friends? Why don't I have a social life? Why don't I have hobbies outside of making money? Really, my only hobby is fucking doing crypto, which is, of course, I got into crypto to make money. Like, I got into crypto.
So just like that, black and white, you know what I'm saying? Just like that, you know. This, I hope someone, got some benefit from this again. It's definitely a problem in America. And I think this is one of my first videos on this particular issue. Basically, I hope that people can find the help that they can get. Like sometimes people just need to talk to somebody, man. Like if I mean, I don't know. It's kind of like sometimes you might even have to pay for a friend, man. Phone a friend, pays for some consultations or something, man. To get some advice. Try it out, like, cause a lot of people just need help, man. They need somebody to kind of get them some guidance, man. I mean, I hate to say it, but we all need some help, man. And it's like some guys just need some help, man. That's the only really thing I could think of, man. You know what I'm saying? Just need some help, man. And that might be, some plans on, okay, we got to get you to read some books. A book is a hobby. At the very least, you start reading some books. Um, get some understanding, and then go, other things, but you got to have some advice from someone to help get out your situation, because a lot of times people just need help, man. They just need, gradual steps. Go walk, go take, daily walks, maybe even once you start walking, start running, and that's going to build up your testosterone. When you start running boosts your testosterone, you know what I'm saying? Boosts up your confidence, and just gradual steps, because, it's a lot of these guys just didn't really have that. They ain't had no older brother or no father or something, man, and they just kind of stuck a little bit. But anyway, like, share, subscribe. I hope this is some information that might be helpful or influential, or interesting nonetheless. So appreciate those that joined the panel, and in the comment section. Definitely, again, like, share, and subscribe.